Are you someone who loves a word of the year? Or do you prefer some other meaningful way of looking at life and business in the upcoming year? I am wholly and fully in the word of the year camp. And in my first podcast, or before I podcasted, my first blog of each year, I love to share what my word is and how I'll be bringing it into being. Now, you'll need to listen further to find out what my actual word is, but I'll show you how it can transform your content and business by embracing your true essence and valuing your existence. Forget the pressures of New Year messages, setting goals, all of those things for just a moment, as I guide you through 4 key questions that will help you align your content with your authentic self. So let's make 2025 the year of being yourself, being true to your strengths, and being someone worth listening to. Welcome to the Powerful Content Podcast, your go-to source for content creation, strategy, and business inspiration. I'm your host, Mel Daniels, content strategist, coach, and speaker, empowering women across the globe to grow their business with powerful content that connects, nurtures, and converts. So if you're ready to create standout content that gets you noticed and remembered, or build an aligned audience who love you and are ready to buy from you, you're in the right place. I believe that content has the power to connect us all. It's up to you how you use it. Listen in for genuine and insightful chats with guests, as well as practical tools and strategies from me. It's so lovely to have you here. Let's dive into the show. I acknowledge the Wongal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the country that I am recording from today. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and waters. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nation people listening today. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 150 of the Powerful Content Podcast. A new year. Oh my goodness. It's such a lovely way to start the year on a milestone episode. I love, this may sound a little crazy, but I love a number that's divisible by 5. So starting 2025 with episode 150 in the year that I turn 50 is a pretty good omen to me. So if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much for giving me the inspiration to keep going and make it this far in my podcasting journey. And if you're new, well, thank you for joining me here on this journey. And I really look forward to making the next milestone with your support. I also hope that you've been able to have a break or do something a little bit different in your life over the festive period. It's often really difficult as we're thrown into all of these shoulds of what this period of our year should look like, as well as the expectations that we place on ourselves about doing all the things. I've had so many discussions in the past week with my members of the Content Effect who aren't ready for the new year, new you, time to set your goals kind of message that is flooding the online business space at the moment. I'm here to say there's absolutely nothing about the appearance of the 1st of January in your calendar, meaning that it's time to set your pathway for the year and start doing. Now, the festive season has looked very different for me this time around. Usually I spend a lot of the time decluttering, hanging out with the kids when they'll let me, or spending time on my business planning or ideating. And I love that sense of space. But I've been off working not 1 but 2 Christmas casual jobs. And I'll talk more about this later. But for lots of different reasons, I took these jobs. One of them was my credit card balance. I knew I was coming into a low income season, plus my credit card balance was particularly high. Okay, I'm going to say alarmingly high. And I wanted to take action rather than worry about it, especially over the festive season. And I'm pleased to say that today I have finally managed to pay it off entirely. Yes, I know, exciting. Now, the second main reason that I took these jobs was this feeling of disconnection. I love talking to people. It's probably one of the reasons I love this podcast. I'm definitely not an outgoing person by nature, but there's something about having a conversation with a real person face to face, even if it's just about the weather, that lights me up. So working from home by myself, and I'm sure that many of you feel this way as well, meant that I didn't get a lot of this connection. Yes, there is always online meetings and Zoom meetings and online networking that you can go to, but it's not quite the same. I really love connecting with my members and acquaintances and biz buddies via Zoom and Kajabi, but there's something about the energy of a real life interaction. So all of this, I guess, leads me to my word of the year and how I came about it. So this time last week, a week ago, I thought I knew exactly what my word of the year was going to be. In the last 24 hours, it has actually changed. So the direction of this episode needed to change as well. And this is a really important lesson that we need to take with us as well, that things change. Once you make a decision on what you're going to call yourself, it doesn't mean that you always need to call yourself that title. Because you make a decision around a direction that you want to take your business, doesn't mean you always have to carry on in that direction. So just know that things are always changing. Now, whether you're into setting a word of the year or not, I hope that you can find inspiration in this episode on how you want your content and your business and your life to feel for you in 2025. Because I don't see a word of the year as a goal or something that I need to attain, but more of a feeling. Now, I've had a word of the year in the past, and some of my words have been embrace, brave, presence, mission, imagine, bold, and shine. But like I mentioned, this time last week, I thought I'd sorted out my word of the year, and I had landed on the word heart. I thought that it was a great word because it represents what I do, what I talk about, how I interact with others, and how I want to be seen in this world. It seemed absolutely perfect. But when I sat with it, it almost felt boring to me. That's what I already do. That's not something I want to aspire to or something that I want to do differently this year. It's actually just a description of how I interact with the world right now. So I've come up with a different word, and it's in the same vein of heart. And I've landed with the word being. It's a version of my 2018 word, I think it was, presence. But to me, it encompasses more than just being fully aware of the current moment. And it's my experiences over the past few months that have really helped me see how I want to be in this world. Now, the definition of being takes on 3 different perspectives, which I think is kind of fun to look at. The first is around existence. So some similar words are things like living life, essential nature, lifeblood, vital force. The second definition relates to the nature or essence of a person. So some similar words are soul, spirit, nature, essence, heart. There's that word that I was going to use. And the third definition is kind of funny, really, but it's a real or imaginary living creature or entity, especially an intelligent one. For example, alien beings. Now, obviously, this one, number 3, is not what I'm aiming for in 2025. I don't want to be transported somewhere else or have strange encounters or turn into something that I'm not. Which leaves me to ponder on the definitions of my existence and my essence. Deep? Maybe. But here's how I'll be using being in 2025. The first way is being more of the woman that I want to be. And this really relates to the definition of nature and true essence, the lifeblood, the vital force. And I don't know whether it's age or experience or perhaps just a bit of both, but I really do wish that I'd spent less of my life worrying about what other people think of me and what I choose to do. So 2025 will definitely be the year of leaving that behind and being more of the person that I really want to be. So this means you can really count on me blocking out those shoulds that I always talk about and expectations of where I should be in life or what life needs to look like for an almost 50-year-old with 2 teens, aging parents, and let's not forget that crazy dingo dog. Life is not Instagram perfect. I'm going to say that again. Life is not Instagram perfect. And anyone who's telling you this or selling this dream is 100% lying to you. Life is what you make it. I'm also going to be more proactive. So this means with money, with saving, with cultivating experiences rather than collecting things. And this involves saying yes, far more often than what I do. Yes to opportunities, yes to questions, yes to things that I would normally perhaps not necessarily say no to, but I would want to think about first. So saying yes more often to bring more joy and cultivate more positive experience in my life, which leads to the second thing of how I'm going to use being. I'm going to be a memory maker. So this is all about the existence definition of the word being. I've got quite a few family and friends who have medical conditions that limit what they can do, yet they still do the doing. It's just so inspiring. I am blessed with good health. Even if the perimenopausal weight may be creeping into my life a bit, it doesn't stop me from doing the doing. And I've realized that doing or making memories doesn't have to cost a lot. There's a saying that goes something like, you don't remember what people say, but how they made you feel. And I believe this to be so true. So a few of the memories that I know that we have made as a family have all revolved around experiences. So just this week, we all went to the Sydney Thunder versus the Perth Scorchers Big Bash cricket game. And we've been doing this most years for probably, I don't know, the past 6 years maybe. My husband is from Perth, so he follows the Perth Scorchers. The rest of us follow the Sydney Thunder. So it's always a hilarious evening. Another thing that doesn't cost any money is that my daughter and I do vision boards together each year, and we'll be doing ours this weekend. So make sure that you keep an eye out in your inbox for what I've come up with. And it doesn't cost anything to be present with my family. So playing board games or eating dinner together. And you know what? It doesn't cost me any money, except if I go to a cafe and I buy myself a coffee, which I love to do. But it doesn't cost any money to hang out and laugh with a friend that brings me joy. It is so often the little things in our life that create the most memorable moments. And lastly, I'll be using being to be the business owner that I want to be, not someone else's version of it. So I'm going to lean into my own wisdom here and do things my way. Just because it works for someone else, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for me. FOMO is not going to be my friend this year. I also want to be the person worth listening to. Now, this is a really difficult one because it means leaning into my confidence and focusing even more on visibility. That doesn't scare me that much, but doing the work to get there kind of does scare me a little bit. So this means that I would be talking more about me, what I believe in, and my book a lot more. And then lastly, being is going to involve listening and asking more questions of my audience and myself. I've really learnt during my time as a Christmas casual that to uncover the gems, to uncover the best solutions, the best outcomes, the best transformations for people, but mostly to uncover the gems, you need to ask the right questions, but then listen to the answers. So often we answer the question, but we're ready to ask the next question and the next question. But when we listen, it is not only the secret to heart-centered selling, but it's how you uncover the things that are actually sitting beneath the surface. And I have learnt well and truly, I knew this before, but I think that the last couple of months have really cemented this, that people are not their exteriors. It is what is underneath, the stories that they have, that is the true gold. So I guess in summary, I'll be bringing being to my business and personal life through two things: embracing my essence and valuing my existence. But what does this mean for you, my beautiful listener? Because this podcast is about you, not me. So I'd love for you to spend a moment to think about how this can relate to your own business and particularly your content. So here's 4 questions that you can think about now, or perhaps jot them down or come back to them at a later stage to use to journal if that's your thing. So the first question is, are you being yourself, or are you being someone that you think you need to be? The second is, are you being true to your essence, namely your strengths, when you create content? Or are you doing something simply because you've been told that you should be doing it? The third thing is, are you being the person worth listening to? Or are you just adding to the noise just because you think that you need to use AI to create more content to put out into the world? And lastly, question number 4 is, are you being true to what you believe in and letting people know exactly what this is. So if you answered no to any of these questions, then you can ask yourself why you believe this to be true to uncover some further insights or areas to focus on when it comes to your business, your life, or your content. Or you can just come and join me inside my membership, The Content Effect, as this is exactly the type of thing that we love to talk about. You can find the link in the show notes if 2025 is your year of being more you with your content and doing it with confidence. So that's it for episode 150, short and sweet, but hopefully it's given you some food for thought when it comes to how you want to create content and, most importantly, how you want to feel. I look forward to being in your ears in 2025. Talk soon. Thanks so much for listening. That's it for another week. To get more powerful content in your life, make sure you're following along on socials. My handle is @meldbusiness. And just in case you're wondering, the groovy music for this podcast was created by Just Here on SoundCloud. I'd also be super grateful if you took a moment to rate and review this podcast so more amazing women like you can experience the power of content. And if you're like, hell Mel, stop talking, I'm ready to work with you now, here's how we can work some powerful content magic together. Firstly, come and join The Content Effect, my membership inspiring women with service-based businesses to ditch the content chaos and start creating stand-out content that gets you noticed and makes sales. You can join us by using the link in the show notes or just Google The Content Effect. The second way we can work together is via my one-on-one packages. We can create a sustainable content strategy or start to build out your client journey. It's up to you. Hop on over to meldbusinessservices.com.au/services to find out more. Until next time, have a beautiful week and embrace the power of your content.